Everything podcast, where our goal is to empower, educate, and elevate. My name is Portia. Before we get started, I gotta give a shout out to my bestie, Renay. If this is your first time watching the episode, usually Renay is on with me. She's feeling under the weather, so please, peace and blessings. Give our well wishes her way, and all of that good stuff. But I definitely want to give her a shout out. I was actually thinking about when I wanted to start this podcast, I kept talking to my friends about it, and it's something that I, always, wanted to do, but, nerves and just trying to figure out how people would, receive any of the information I was going to give out. I was kind of concerned about it, and I remember asking Renay if she could, just be a co-host with me to kind of like ease my fears and stuff like that. And literally every Thursday, she's right here recording with me, so I definitely want to give a shout out just for all of her support to push me to do this podcast. And as always, sis, she got her own boutique. So please go ahead and check out the website, shop something cute. It will be in the description link below. So with that being said, I had a pretty good weekend. If you remember in my in the last podcast, I had brought up a young lady named Shaniqua Porter, and she's she's a great artist, real Afrocentric in a lot of the work she does. But one thing that she's doing right now, as I had mentioned before, is she's doing these art kits. So you could utilize this as if you're trying to do like a sip and paint with you and your friends, and you guys want to do that. You can have her draw something up, or she'll come up with something for you. Or if you have a date night, definitely you could utilize this as well. So I just wanted to show you guys. And first of all, I haven't painted this. I haven't did anything with this, okay? Nothing at all at the time being. But I bought mine for the purposes of date night. But you need a date to do that. So when I do have my date, I just wanted to pull it out. And I know this is a picture. It's, for people that feel inappropriate about things, maybe close your eyes. But anyway, so these are like 3 of the templates. Well, this is like 1 of them. And then it's 2. And there's literally, and then I have, I'm sorry, gotta do this. Then I have like 3, right? But it's literally one big picture broken down into 6 palettes or templates or whatever you want to call it. And the cool thing about it is when you're doing it, like let's say you were to do this for a girls' night, maybe the picture would be different. But maybe you're doing this with a girls' night. It's all 6 of you guys. Everybody paints differently. Everybody's creativity is different. People are going to use different browns or lighter browns for the skin tone. But what I thought was cool is that you can put all these 6 pieces together to make one big picture. But the way that everybody painted it, it's going to come out different. So that goes as well. That goes for the same as like your date. Maybe your date would have 3 palettes. And you would have 3 palettes, and then he would paint it up in his style, you paint it up in your style, and you guys can put it together. So, one more thing. Because this is a paint kit, she gives all the paint included. She even gives an abundance of brushes for it. And it's like a whole little package. She has something going on right now for Valentine's Day. But definitely check that out. And like I said, when I get a date and we paint it together, I'll show you the final project. But as of right now, that's a work in progress, child. That's a work in progress. But I think it's, you know, especially as it relates to like date night or, you know, with a significant other, that may be something that, you know, that you guys can do together. We definitely need to find a way to close gaps as it relates to Black men and Black women. And I'm still trying to learn how to close that gap as well. So that kind of brings us into our topic today. I believe that there are so many things that we could talk about as it relates to relationships and different things like that. But I figure let's get down to like the meat and potatoes, like just the overall, the beginning, right? One thing with me, anybody who knows me knows I was like in a 12-year relationship. When that relationship was over and it was time for me, you know what I'm saying, to just kind of find myself and all of that other stuff. Once I was actually ready to date or whatever the case may be, I noticed that and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe you guys can agree with me as well, but there was a disconnect. There is a disconnect between Black men and Black women. It was almost like jumping into this dating field. It was almost like we're almost competing against each other, or we're opponents to one another, you know. And I don't know why that is, or well, I don't want to say I don't know why it is. I know why. I mean, I know the history behind why. And any woke mother effers, individuals, anybody that's woke pretty much already knows like the history behind the whys of it. And I don't even really want to get into some of the whys, which relates to, in my opinion, relates to racial disparity, you know, Black men being forced out of their homes, going to prison, just a whole 9 yards. I mean, we could speak about it, but why harp over something? We need to be trying to find solutions to it, right? So I had seen this article. It was actually, the information that they got was actually from the U.S. Census or whatever. And obviously this one, the information I pulled up was kind of old because they just did a census. And you know what, just a side note, some stuff. Those census people, I mean, they're worse than collectors. They'll come to your house. Well, the people that came to my house this past summer literally probably came 2 and 3 times in one day. Like, they was really, you know, trying to do their job, as you will. But anyway, as I digress. So in this article, it basically said, as far as like Black people, we're like down here when it comes to the marriage scale. Okay? And let me be the first one to say, as it relates to marriage, I've actually been married before. As it relates to marriage, it's not something that I necessarily am a fan of, okay? I believe that you don't have to, you can be with someone and be life partners with someone, and it doesn't necessarily like have to be, that legal part of it don't have to necessarily be added on to it. However, to each his own. But if we remove the marriage portion and we're just strictly talking about relationships, and I didn't see any statistics about relationships only as it related to marriage, but as it relates to relationships, there's definitely a disconnect when it comes to Black men and women. And like I said, I feel like we're opponents to one another. So I'm not necessarily trying to figure out the whys. I know the whys, and we can definitely talk about that, you know, at a later time. But how do we change the gap now? How do we stop being opponents to our kings, and vice versa? How do kings stop being opponents to their queens? Men and women are 2 different individuals. there is no competition within each other. A man can only be a man at the end of the day, and a woman can only be a woman at the end of the day. At least that's what I believe in. But as I told you from the beginning, we are literally in this journey together. So I don't have all of the answers. I only can speak on something that I feel like is a necessary characteristic or action that we should take. And keep in mind, I want you guys to put in the comments below, in the comments, when you're commenting on YouTube, or if you're following us on Facebook, put in the comments below what you guys feel like are something that can close the gaps. I want to hear from everybody. And then eventually what we can do is we can get all of those suggestions out there, and maybe we'll do like a part 2 to this, and then we can kind of go over it and also get like a man's perspective as well. But as it relates to me, one solution that I think would be very beneficial is to heal. It's healing. And that can kind of go hand in hand with what we spoke about last week when we talked about us as Black people just holding so much on our shoulders and already going through a pandemic before COVID hit. You know, it can kind of go hand in hand with that. We don't know how to heal. A lot of us are good at sweeping things under the rug, right? So last week we talked about some different ways to deal with stress and all of those different things like that. But as it relates to relationships, or just interacting with, kings and queens out there, I think the biggest tool or the biggest lesson that I learned as far as what creates the gap in my 30s is healing. And I say this because this is for the people that are 30 and up, at least 30 and up. Being 30 and up and being single, you got to think, at least, well, I would say everybody who's 30 and 30 and up have went through some type of heartbreak. And I want y'all to really think about that one heartbreak. And it don't even got to be one. It could be multiple, because some of us have been through a couple different heartbreaks, let me tell you, okay, child? But if you go back to that heartbreak, we always talk about our first loves. But think about that heartbreak. It's that heartbreak. It's that feeling of despair. It's that breakup of your family. It's all those different things that will set a precedent for how you move, regardless if you're healed or not. But many times, a lot of us feel like, oh, I ain't even thinking about that nigga. You know, we'll literally be like, well, I ain't thinking about him and what he doing. But low key, even though we're over any romanticized feelings about somebody, we still may be carrying pain, distrust, the lack of loyalty that we felt in a situation. And this goes for men and women. So I feel like the best thing that we need to do is heal. A lot of times we'll jump out of one situation just to run into the next situation. Having a rebound is not a part of the healing process. And I can speak on that from experience. So it really has to be, as far as healing, has to be about self-love. And I used to hear that all the time. Like, I love myself. But literally being in tune with yourself and loving yourself, you know the difference. Because when it's all said and done, you don't need a man to be around. You may want a man. You don't need a girl to be around. You may want a girl, but you don't need one. You're perfectly fine on your own. You know, you've done the proper healing. You love yourself. You're investing in yourself. That's a part of healing, investing in yourself. having your own life. All of this is important because when you've properly healed and you've established, things in your life and stuff like that, when you do run into someone who could be possibly, quote unquote, Mr. Right, you won't have to wear that heartbreak on you like it's steel armor. And ladies, y'all know what I'm talking about. When you meet somebody and because of what you've been through, the first thing that's going through your mind is like, yeah, he full of shit. Yeah, he ain't doing nothing but lying. And naturally, we don't even know if the person is lying or not anyway. But we got our fists up and we got our guards up. And I'm not necessarily saying it's an issue to have your guards up, but sometimes when you have them up to the point where you can't even properly get to know this person because it's almost like you're subconsciously self-sabotaging and manifesting the demise of that relationship or situationship. You're already manifesting that demise, But anyway, the biggest thing I think is healing. I think nobody wants to be hurt. I think as it relates to men obviously, they hurt too, that's how silly to say. But I think they deal with their emotions differently. I think it's very prideful and ego. So then when you meet a man who is still hurt himself and he's out here, not really caring about nobody's feelings, moving in a different type of way, just that's not kosher. And then you got, female on the end, been through some stuff, been through some heartbreak. So while someone's trying to play it cool, the man acting like, he's macho and nothing matters and all that, then you have the woman who's like, it don't matter to me either, all y'all just the same. And it's like, if everybody properly healed, I think that would be something to close the gap. And and let me say this, there's no right or wrong answer, okay? There's probably multiple answers. I just wanted to give the one that I feel is beneficial and that's healing. I want to hear y'all's. I want to hear what you all have to say. What do you guys think is something that needs to be done to close the gap between black men and black women? I'm all for black love. I'm all for all of that. I think it's a beautiful thing. And I don't think it's fair I don't think that it's fair that we seem to be the only ones on a totem pole as far as love and relationships. Like, we're the ones lower on the totem pole. I think that's bullcrap. I feel like we should be able to coexist. I feel like men and women, black men and women, should be uplifting each other. I don't think it always has to be a competition in a sport. It doesn't need to be one regardless. A man is a man, let that man be a man, and a woman is a woman, let that woman be a woman. Now, I know everybody got different stories of heartbreak and different scenarios and solutions. I know that there's men and women out there that don't want to be in a relationship. And all of that is 100% okay. I'm speaking for the people that they want something real. They want something, they want to be serious about something. I'm not speaking for somebody that, wants to be, free out there. If you want to be free like a bird, that's all well and good. So comment on the video. I would love to hear you guys' feedback as far as what you think could bring the black men and women together. Fellas, if you know me personally, or if you are in the Illinois area, hit me up if you ever want to be a guest on the show. We would definitely love to get the male's perspective on what's the disconnect. Well, what is the disconnect? So, I got two things though, and not to backtrack, that I want you to do. Just to recap. One, think about what we can do to come together. I said healing. So think about that. Think of something and come to me with it. The second thing I want you guys to do, just on some personal healing type stuff, think about your first heartbreak. And I'm not talking about no puppy love heartbreak. I mean, I could talk about that. But I'm talking about your real first heartbreak where that stuff took everything out of your soul. Really think about that. And ask yourself, are you really healed from that? How long ago was it? Were you really healed from it? And really ask yourself that, because a lot of times people bring baggage, and that's for men and women. They bring baggage onto the next relationship, whereas the next person that's, you know, is like, hey, what the hell did I get into? So think about those two things. Think about those two things. On another note, before I kind of wrap things up here, I want to give a shout out to one of my friends. They actually gave me, it's like these affirmations. Like every day it's a deck of cards and it has affirmations. And I know we spoke about this, I believe, in the second one when we were talking about our goals and like saying affirmations to ourselves. I think that goes hand in hand with not just trying to stay motivated on your goals, but also it goes hand in hand with trying to relieve stress when you don't feel like you're worthy enough. Sometimes we all go through it. Say affirmations to yourself. And that's also a part of the healing process too. Because another thing I want to say as it relates to healing, healing isn't just about healing from past relationships. I definitely think that's a big thing. But healing is also from just past traumas in general. Because a lot of times people bring their daddy and their mama issues into the relationship. Or look at a dysfunctional relationship they seen their parents go through and they set it as a precedent. We need to break generational curses. We need to heal and get over that shit so we can move forward and bask in the ambiance. But anyway, I went off on a tangent. But these are really cool. This is actually from a poet. Her name is K Love. She's actually a really good poet. But she has affirmations for women and she has affirmation cards for men. So I appreciate the gift that was given to me. But like, for example, I might be having a bad day. Maybe having a bad day. Maybe I'll pull a card up. Oh, not that one. That had instructions. Pull a card up. This one says, I believe in my brand of love. Like if you say something enough, it's gonna resonate. I believe in my brand of love. The next one says, I am the closest thing to God. We are kings and queens. We gotta start acting like it. That's why this whole segment on just becoming united with black men and women is very important. Let's get rid of those past childhood traumas. And while we can't get rid of it, but let's heal from those past childhood traumas. And let's heal from those past relationship traumas. It matters. It matters because it sets a precedent on how we deal with our loved ones. What is this one? Attract wealth. We all could attract wealth, can't we? We all could attract wealth. And let's just do one more. I make divine connections. Divine connections. That means the people that I bring into my circle or the people that I connect with on a daily basis. Well, I don't say daily basis, but really connect with, on a consistent basis are people that are going to elevate me, empower me, educate me, be all there for me. So I just want to say, check these out. I'll put her information in my link below. So definitely check out her affirmation cards. And like I said, she's a wonderful poet. Wonderful poet. Actually, her poetry some of it goes hand in hand with just loving our black men and also loving our black women. Like, it's important. I definitely think it's important. But with that being said, let's go to one last thing. We have our black business shout out, or whatever. One black business shout out Well, I guess this would be one too. So this will be K-Love. Her affirmation cards will be in the Black Business shout out as well. But another one, if you are in the Chicagoland area, there's this soul food restaurant in Elgin. It's called Monis. Let's see, Monis Soulfood Fiesta. And I had the opportunity to taste it for myself this past weekend, and it was very delicious. Very, very delicious. So if you guys are in the Elgin area, you're looking for some good food, definitely check her out. Keep in mind, we're in a pandemic right now, and honestly, restaurants are suffering. Restaurants are suffering for many reasons. Because of the pandemic, you got a lot of people cooking. Because of the pandemic, there's no dine-in options to actually eat in these restaurants. So, with that being said, we definitely need to support restaurants, but more importantly, let's support this Black business owner, being a woman, a Black woman, Black business owner, whatever the case may be. Let's go ahead and support her. So check that out. And the description will be in the link below. Another Black business shout out. I used to actually go to high school with this young lady. I say young lady because I'm young too. But I used to go to high school with this young lady. Her name is Shirley, and her business is called Haitian Elation. So, ladies, if you're looking for some jewelry to wear when you go out, if you're looking just for everyday fashion jewelry, definitely check her out. She has some really nice pieces that I, took a look at and looked at and was going through the website and looking at. I will definitely post the link below. I'm definitely going to be getting some for my birthday. My birthday's February 9th. If anybody want to, donate to the United Negro Fund. You guys are of Portia. You're more than welcome. Cash at me. If you know me, cash at me. But anyway, so, but I will definitely, Shirley, shout out to you. And I definitely will be purchasing some jewelry for my birthday. Last but not least, as always, Shop Something Cute Boutique, but the website is shopsomethingcute.com. We will definitely have the website in the link below. This is Renay's boutique. She just started this some months back, and so definitely support her and take a look at the outfits. Definitely a grown and sexy collection. Outfits for birthdays, outfits for holidays, outfits for every day. Definitely check her out. Check her stuff out. It's real legit. No good material. She's definitely putting her heart and soul into that. And again, girl, I like I said, I hope you feel well and all of that good stuff. And lastly, I will be putting Shaniqua Porter's information in the link below again, because Valentine's Day is coming up and because we need to be doing something productive with our Black men. I want y'all to get y'all art set too. Get y'all art set so y'all can, you know what I'm saying? Be connected with y'all Black men. I do it so you can be connected with your Black women. Surprise them, But with that being said, though, y'all, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap all of this up. I want to thank you guys for your support. Please like, share, and subscribe. Like I said, I want to hear from you. I want to hear your comments. Let me know. Let me know what you guys think is your solution to closing the gap between Black men and women. Like I said, me starting off first, I think it's healing. And then lastly, think about your first heartbreak, or even your last heartbreak, the one that took your soul out of you, and ask yourself, are you really healed from it? Even if you're not thinking about that man, ask yourself, did it have a question did it set the precedent on how you moved going forward? Which is a good thing. I think it's lesson learned. But what was the lesson that you learned out of it? That's the healing process. So peace and blessings to all of you all. Love y'all. Love your support. I'll holla. Go beyond the limit of the sky.